street, there'll be another Dasher delivering something else. And they'll be like, we all know each other because this is a small town. They'll be like, you know, you're not supposed to go in their houses and mind your business. What are they going to do? Report me to DoorDash? DoorDash will fire me? That's why I got a regular job. I only do DoorDash so I can get my surgery. Once I heal up from my surgery, I'm not going to do DoorDash anymore. Yes, I love my regular job. I love to work. I work all the overtime that they give me. But I am getting older. I'm not going to work 2 full-time jobs anymore. So once I get my surgery and I heal up from that, I'm done DoorDashing. And I have to do DoorDash because I already checked with my job. Yes, I will get short-term disability, but I won't get my first check for like 3 or 4 weeks, I think. I'm going to have bills before then. I can't wait that long to pay my bills. So yes, I'm going to have to go out and DoorDash until I get my first check in. And then, like I said, once I heal up and I go back to work, I'll probably DoorDash maybe for about a month after I go back to work, because I know I'll probably still be behind a little bit financially. But once I get financially stable, get a few paychecks coming in back again from work, then I'll quit doing DoorDash. Just all of my medications and medical expenses and the issues I've had with my cars the past few months, that's why I'm broke and need to work 2 jobs. Now, I'm not rich, no, but it is cheap to live here in this state. That's one reason why I moved here. My rent and utilities are included in one bill. It's all included. I pay $1,100 a month to live here. My take home after taxes and everything from my job is about right at $4,000 a month. So you figure all I do is pay $1,100 a month to live here. So that's still like $3,000 I have left every month for just food and gas to get to work. I live in South Dakota. So no, once I get my surgery and I get back to working after I heal up and make a couple of paychecks, you know, coming in, I won't need to do DoorDash anymore. But over the past year, I was scammed on 2 or 3 cars that I bought. Yes, I knew they were used cars. They could have had issues, but I was lied to. There was way more wrong with them. They ended up going to cost more to fix than they were worth. So yeah, that's how I've ended up buying 3 or 4 cars this year, but I finally got a good one now. So yeah, that put me behind a little bit on bills. I've driven through Nebraska. I've been to lots of places. I've been to California. I've been to Connecticut. I've been to North Carolina, South Carolina. I've been to Oklahoma. I've been to Texas, Kentucky, and I'm from Indiana. Let's see, where else have I been? I think that's it. Oh, Mississippi. I've been to Mississippi. I used to have a job where I traveled. I used to fly out every, I guess you could say, the middle of Sunday night, Monday morning. I used to get on the plane every Sunday, but technically Monday, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I would fly back home on Fridays. I'd be back home on Friday. So I traveled around to a few places. I think I usually used to fly, but I think the longest trip that I've ever driven, 2 trips, was from El Paso, Texas to back home to Indiana. And I drove from Mississippi back home to Indiana. Those are the 2 longest driving trips that I've done. Maybe, I don't know. When I drove from South Carolina to here, that was a 22-hour drive. I need to use the restroom. I'll be back. And then when I went to California, it wasn't nothing special. Wasn't like nothing to see. I went to a place called Palmdale, California. Yeah, I flushed the toilet. You're supposed to flush the toilet after you pee. And I washed my hands too. What is that noise? Hang on, y'all. I know, Bill. I know. You've been in here before. Oh, it already started. It's raining ice outside. We're getting the ice. That's what was hitting across my window. I was like, what's that noise? It's already started to ice out there. I did not like Palmdale, California, Bill. When I went there, my first day, I couldn't wait to come back home. I thought people there were so rude and so nasty, or the people I met. I was like, y'all about some of the nastiest people I ever met in my life. Rudest people I ever met. I looked at them, I said, y'all sure the heck don't have no southern hospitality like we do back home. I don't know. Let me see what the temperature is. But we're under another winter weather advisory. Hell, we just had 2 blizzards at the beginning of the month. Right now, it's 15 degrees outside. I only stayed there for a week, Bill. One of my friends was from there, and she just wanted me to come there and visit her. I was like on vacation, and I had never really been anywhere before because I had kids, but my kids were grown now whenever I went. And she was like, come here and visit me. Come see California. And she was going to take me to a few places, like look around in California and stuff. But after I met some of the people there, she wasn't from there. She had moved there. I kind of told her, I said, you should have warned me at how nasty the people are here. I felt like I was going to get into a fight every day. Because us southern country girls don't put up with that crap. Jennifer, I don't actually tell my city where I live. Because I had a troll to come in here a minute ago. They got it wrong. They thought that I lived in Watertown, South Dakota, just because of a video on my profile. No. We've got a lot of different sites here in South Dakota. I travel to those places sometimes. So because I had a video where I was driving through Watertown, South Dakota, the troll was trying to act like, oh, I know where you live, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't know where I live. You know where I traveled through. But I do tell people, if you can figure it out, if it's that important to you, and I don't mean you, Jennifer, I mean just people in general, I always give a clue. The city I live in is where the main college is, the main university, the big college. If you can figure out what city that is, I'll tell you if you're right. I tell anybody that. They're always like, well, I'm going to find out where you live. Like whenever I get trolls to come in here. I'm like, well, if you Google where the main university college is and you get it right, I'll tell you. I won't lie to you. I'll tell you if it's right. But like I tell these trolls that come in here that try to make little threats and stuff, us southern backwoods country women don't put up with that. I hope somebody comes to my doorstep. I pray that somebody comes to my doorstep. I need to get my charger. Hang on. Now, there was a guy on TikTok one day that made a video about us southern country people. And he was just doing a scenario, like if there was ever like a civil war, you know, something like that between people. And he said he's not saying that people cannot fight in all states. He knows that there's fighters everywhere. But one thing he did say, because he grew up around southern people, he said the real backwoods southern people, he said you don't want to mess with. He said they were raised pretty much in the woods and taught to hunt from pretty much the time that we could walk. That's what we do. We pretty much live in the woods and hunt. That's all we do. We can tell everybody to shut up and be quiet and don't say a word, and we can hear a noise and tell which way someone's walking in the leaves, where they're from, left, right, north, south, whatever you want to say. We can listen and be like, over there. Okay, Bill. So, yeah. And the only reason why I say that, because I follow some big creators on here. And I used to think that they were lying before, because you can't believe everything people say on TikTok. Well, people used to be like, hey, I had a troll come to my house. They tracked down where I live, and they were like, don't y'all do that. I used to think that these big creators were lying when they said that trolls used to try everything they could to find out where they lived, and then they showed up at their house. I was like, whatever, they're lying. I was like, ain't nobody come to your house. And if y'all have ever seen them on here, I follow another account, Mama and Papa Rags. I love them. They're funny as hell. He actually video recorded it. Him and his wife was outside, and a car was pulling up into their driveway that they didn't know. They didn't know the car, so curiously, they walked over to the driveway, wondering to see who was coming up to their house. It was a fucking follower that had been following them on TikTok. I don't know how they found them, but they found their house, and he recorded it. He got mad. He was heated. He said, don't you ever come to my house again. He said, I'll tell you right now, don't you ever pull up on my house. So, I guess people do that stuff. I don't know. Hey, Tay-Tay. I mean, I guess there are people out there that do that kind of stuff, that track down some of these big creators. I don't know why, but go to their house, find them, find where they live. I don't know. But all I've ever told people that come into my live, these trolls, that sometimes they've made little threats saying that they're going to find out where I live. Please, I want you to come to my house. Because here we have a protecting order state. I am allowed to protect myself in any means that I can. And the reason why I say that, no, I'm not trying to act bad, because yes, there's people that can fight everywhere. But I'll tell you what I did today. Do I regret what I did today? No, I don't. Okay, some of y'all know, and you've heard me talk about it, I've got very large tumors in my stomach. I'm getting ready to have surgery to get them all removed. Sometimes I get really bad pains in my stomach, sharp pains that feel like I'm being stabbed, and it hurts bad. But I was still working today, and today was not a good day. Sometimes I got a really bad pain, but I still kept working. So I'm doing a grocery order today, and I'm sitting over here in the aisle, like where the cheese, cream cheese, butter, all that is. And I'm looking at my phone, looking to see what this person wants. There's another lady right beside me with her cart looking at another area. I wasn't looking, but I did hear someone say, "Excuse me." I looked up and I see a kid about 16, between 16 and 18. I don't know. So when he said, "Excuse me," I was getting ready to back up my cart and scoot over a little bit more so he could get through, because the other lady was really close to me. Before I could even back up my cart, he pushed the cart into my stomach. Like I said, I'm already in pain and hurting. He pushed the cart into my stomach. I turned around and I said, "I was getting ready to move my fucking cart if you would have given me a second." I was watching out of the corner of my eye the whole time. He took a couple of steps, kept on going the opposite way of me. After about 2 steps, he stopped and he turned to his side and he looked at me, kept staring at me down, and I was looking at him out of the corner of my eye the whole time while I'm still shopping. I don't take my eyes off of a target. That's what we call you. You're a fucking target. I looked at him because he kept standing there, and I was like, "I hope you do." That's the first thing I said to him, is, "I hope you do." He turned and walked 2 more steps, stopped and looked at me again, and I'm still looking at him out of the corner of my eye. He looked like he wanted to say something to me. And I told him, I said, "I don't give a fuck how old you are." I said, "You're grown enough to act like that. You're grown enough to get knocked the fuck out." He turned around and walked 2 more steps and turned around and looked at me again. He kept standing there. And I told him again, I said, "I hope the fuck you do." I said, "I wish you will." Because I was already in so much pain. I was hoping that somebody would do something. Then I happened to look up in front of me, and I take it that that was his father. His father was staring at me. I gave his father a look. I didn't say nothing to him, but I gave his father a look. You know, that look where you're like, "Come on, I want you to say something too." His dad didn't say not one damn word. Not one. He kept staring at me, but he didn't say one word. I was in so much pain today, I was hoping that both of them would have fucking done something. Excuse my language. Peanut's still asleep, but she's doing good. I didn't care if the kid was 16, 17, or 18. You gonna fucking look at me like that and then push my cart into my stomach? Well, I'll fuck you up. My hands are rated E for everybody. So, yeah. And either his father was staring me down because he knew his son was in the wrong, or he was waiting to see if me or his son was going to do something. But either way, he didn't say not one word. He just kept staring at me. "What are you staring at me for? Because I'm trying to teach your kid something that you should be teaching your kid?" Ooh, that ice is coming down really fast and hard. Hang on and I'll turn my my camera to her and you can look at her. She's laying on her electric blanket right now. Hang on. Is she right there? See? I got her blanket plugged up. She's got her ears raised up because she hears that ice hitting the window. What you hear? You hear that ice? Yeah? You hear that ice hitting the window? Yeah. It's an electric blanket. Yeah, you plug it up and the blanket heats up. I keep that for her every winter, which is I just washed it yesterday. But I keep that for her every winter because we get down to -50 sometimes, -60. And even if I keep my heat on high, you still get a cold draft that comes in here. Hell, last winter, I had ice on the inside of my windows. Yeah, you can hear it. Hang on, I'll be quiet and you can hear it. Hang on. Which means that's why I'm saving up. Which means that's why I'm saving up, Bill, to get my dream car. I know you ain't been watching me that long, but I work my ass off. I get a lot of my regular followers all the time that tell me I'm going to kill myself. I need to take a break. My car that I have out there is decent. It's a good little car, but only if you don't live anywhere where there's snow. I can't even drive that car when we get more than 1.5 inches of snow. I have to take off work. My regular followers know me. I do not take off work, not now, not ever, and I work all the overtime that I can get unless, like, life or death, I'm in the hospital. That's the only time I take off work. I cannot drive that little car out there in the slightest little bit of snow or ice at all. Not at all. I've tried, and I slide everywhere. And my boss knows that. He's fine. They can't fire you because the roads are too bad to get to work. I live like about an hour away from my apartment, so he knows it's hard for me to make it to work. It's a little front wheel drive car. We get lots of snow here, a lot. So yes, I will work my ass off. I don't care how much I have to work. I'm going to get me an SUV all-wheel drive to where I don't have to take off work anymore. So that's what I'm doing after I get my surgery and I get back to work, getting regular paychecks. I'm going to get me an SUV with all-wheel drive that's a good snow driving vehicle. Just like now, the reason why I'm not in bed yet, I'm not going to bed, I'm going to start going out and doing DoorDash at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, is it going to be dangerous for me to drive my little car out there when we're getting all that ice? Yes. But I also know with DoorDash, it's going to be really busy because we're getting so much ice and snow. So I'll probably get a lot of orders. I'll do that until about 9 or 9:30 in the morning. Then I'll come home and I'll go to sleep. And then I'll get up about 2 o'clock and see if I can make it to work, to my regular job. I have to be at my regular job at 4, but I'll leave here probably around 2:15 or 2:30 just to make sure that I make it, since we got all these, we got all this ice coming first. And then on top of the ice, we're supposed to get 5 inches of snow. So I'll leave like around 2:15 to see if I can make it to work by 4. Yeah, I'm going to get a snow driving vehicle. God's chosen one. I'll slow down and take me a break after I get my car. And then, of course, I plan on moving to the town where my job is too, where I don't have to drive an hour there and an hour back. And even though I was able to make it to work that last blizzard that we had in this little front wheel drive car, I couldn't go no faster than 30 miles an hour. I tried. I slid. I couldn't make it up no hills. So I couldn't go no faster than 30 miles an hour. It took me 2.5 hours to get home. So yeah, my plan is to also move to the town where my job is. I can't do that because of my dog. I work 10 to 12 hour shifts at my job. Sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours. So if we've got really bad weather out there, it may take me 1.5 to 2 hours to get to work. And then 2 to 2.5 hours to get home. Well, you look at my 10 hours or 12 hours that I work, that means Peanut is at home alone for 16 or 17 hours by herself. She can't go that long without using the bathroom. So I'm going to try to move closer to my job. No, I've bought 3 cars this year, Tay-Tay. That truck was a piece of junk. It was deemed unsafe to drive on the road. I was told to stop driving it. I couldn't drive it no more. So I went out and bought another car. And it was a used car, but it was a nice car. Or I thought it was. I checked under the second car that I bought after the red truck. No leaks, no nothing. Didn't sound like anything. I drove it, test drove it. Everything looks good. Like I said, no leaks, no noises, no nothing. That thing drove perfect for like 2 weeks. I was happy. I loved it. It was an all-wheel drive car. About 2 weeks after I had it, first thing went wrong in it. I was like, okay, it's a used car. I'll go get it fixed. Power steering went out. The whole power steering. I was like, okay, I'll go get it fixed. Got that fixed. Not before I even got my next paycheck. It needed struts. Front and back. Okay, so I got that fixed. Not before I even got the next paycheck. It needed new tires. I had a tire blowout at work. Because it needed an alignment. So after I got the tires and the alignment done, not before the next paycheck, another fucking thing broke down on it. Then, as I was getting ready to go get that last thing fixed, which Ford had already told me, the dealership, it was going to cost $1,500, my transmission went out in it. So I went ahead and traded it into a car lot that wanted it, and now I got the new car that I got outside. Bill, I'm in materials. I drive big, heavy machinery. If you've ever seen them, big, huge monster forklifts. That's my regular job. I've got it on my profile. I've got videos on my profile. I had my coworker take this video of me. This is the kind of stuff I drive at my job. So yeah, I make decent money. I can afford to buy me a brand new SUV that I want. I'm just short on money right now. I'm behind in money because I've had a lot of health problems lately, which will be fixed as soon as I get my surgery. No more health problems. My surgery will fix everything. And again, I was sold 2 piece of shit cars that I kept putting every paycheck into. But now I finally got a decent car. As mechanical wise, there's nothing wrong with it. I just can't drive it in any kind of snow, ice, or anything at all. Not even a little bit. The roads have to be completely clear. And yes, I have winter tires on the car. It's a front wheel drive car. It still don't do good in the snow. But now that I finally got a little decent car, once I get my surgery done and I heal up from that, then I'll be able to get me a better car to where I won't have to miss work anymore. So yeah, I got a decent paying job. Am I rich? No. But it's decent to where once I get caught up with everything, I won't be without anything. That's why I laugh at trolls that come in here and want to try to say, oh, what's she down here begging for now? How much money is she asking for? Excuse my language, but bitch, I ain't asking for no money. I got fucking money. But none of us can control it if we end up getting a major health problem. We can't control that. Any of us can get sick at any moment. I've had to pay a lot of money for medications. My shots that I was on for 6 months, I had to get 1 injection every month. 1 shot was $8,000. So do $8,000 times 6 months. Yeah, my insurance covered some of it. but I still got to pay a lot of it. And 1 month, I didn't have insurance. So that's $8,000 I got to pay there. Yeah, $8,000 for one shot. You can look it up. Here, I'll show you. How much does a Lupron Depot shot cost? Oh, that's prices in Canada. Well, I don't live in Canada. Now, I must have been on the generic Lupron Depot shot because it says right here, Lupron Depot shot ranges in prices. It can cost anywhere from $7,500 to $38,000 for a single shot. Well, I'm glad I had the generic, because if I would have had to pay $38,000 for a single shot, I would have been like, I'll just die, because I would have died without those shots. I would have been like, I'll just go ahead and die. I ain't paying fucking $38,000 for one shot. But mine was about $8,000 for each shot, so I was probably on the generic shit. I live in South Dakota. Now, the shot was mostly made for men with prostate cancer. That's why it's a man-made drug. But they also learned with research that it helps women with medical conditions like me. And it's also good for women who have endometriosis, that have trouble with excuse me for saying this, Bill, but it's a woman's thing. Women who have uncontrollable bleeding that doctors cannot control. They also learned that shot helps women also with that. But it's also a very dangerous drug. That's why I was only allowed to be on it for 6 months. Yeah. Look at that right there. That is the most it says it can cost right there. If it cost $38,398 for a single shot, that's the most. Oh, okay, Bill. Well, then, Bill, you should know that what it says here on Google, that's true. That the Lupron Depot shot, depending on what brand it is, can be very expensive. But that's what my doctor told me. Because she was surprised when I took the Lupron Depot shot. She said I handled it very well. More than most people. Because she told me when I took my first shot that my symptoms would be worse before they got better. That I probably wouldn't be better until my second shot. No. After my very first shot, I quit bleeding. I didn't have no more symptoms. I felt great. I felt like I was 20 years old. And every time I went in for my checkup with her, because I had to do a checkup with every shot, she said, I can't believe you're doing so great. So I finally asked her, I said, well, since I'm doing so good, I said, why can't I just stay on the shot until my surgery? She said, because it's a dangerous drug. She said, you cannot be on it longer than 6 months. Maybe men can, I don't know. But she said women couldn't. And I was like, how dangerous? She said, well, the longer you're on it, it can cause bone loss. You can get osteoporosis, or however you say that word, osteoporosis, whatever. I can't never say the whole thing. She said you could also develop diabetes. But I felt so great. I felt like I was 20 years old again. I was like, I think I'll take, what's the old Price is Right? I'll take door number 1, doctor. I think I'll choose to stay on the damn shot. I'll deal with osteoporosis and shit later. Oh, well, I didn't know, because I know she told me that it was mostly made for people with prostate cancer. I didn't know if that was a drug that people with prostate cancer stayed on or not. She just told me I couldn't take it no longer than 6 months because of maybe developing bone loss and osteoporosis, however you say it. And I know that osteoporosis thing, that's a woman's thing. So I thought maybe only women could stay on it that long. But yeah, I mean, I think I make decent money. Like I've said, y'all heard me say that. No, I'm not rich. But let's just say that I was caught up with everything. I'm done with my surgery. I'm back to work. You know, I'm bringing in scheduled paychecks. And then after my surgery, I don't have to buy none of these medications anymore that's costing me out the ass. You got to think, like I said, here where I live. And yeah, I'm going to get me another house later on. But right now where I live, everything included, all utilities, everything, I only pay $1,100 a month. My take home after taxes, after what percentage I have put into my 401k from my check, after everything is taken out, I bring home $4,000 a month. Like I said, only $1,100 goes to my rent and utilities. So yeah, having a little bit over like $3,000 a month for food and gas, that's a pretty decent living. I'm not rich, no, but that's still decent. Oh, see, well, Bill, I'm not no doctor. I tell nurses and doctors all the time, that's when I say I don't know. I said I think that it's a woman's thing. I don't know, because that's what y'all go to school for. I love being a machine operator. I love working with heavy machinery. So that's what my trade is in. You all went to school to be nurses and doctors and lawyers and, you know, all that stuff. So no, I don't know about that stuff. I didn't know anything about my condition that I have until I got it. Although my doctor says that it's common for women. I never knew any woman that had it in my life. And I've had a lot of female friends. And every female that I know, ever since I got this condition, I asked them because my doctor said it's common. I was like, hey, have y'all ever heard of this? They were like, no. And I'll tell them, I'm like, well, my doctor says it's common in women. Yeah, I do heavy machinery operator. And I'm a regular machine operator, where you deal with programming the machines and stuff. My last job before I moved here back home that I had, I was a brake press operator, and I used to make axles for semi-trucks. I also used to work back home at the old Toyota plant. I used to do all the wiring in the cars that came down the line. Rachel, I got two different, well, I don't know if you call it two different conditions or not. I got fibroid tumors is one. But the reason why mine is so problematic, even my doctor said, 90% of my stomach is full of tumors. But I don't know which is which, if I can explain it right. Some of them are fibroid tumors. She said others are regular tumors, but I've already had cancer tests on them, and she said they're benign, or however you say it. They're not cancerous. So I have two conditions working towards each other. That's why they cannot get my bleeding to stop. So I got fibroid tumors, and then also regular benign tumors in my stomach. 4 of them are the size of babies' heads. Or that's what she told me. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I can only say what my doctor has told me. So I don't know. And I do try to read the My Chart because they are very detailed. They'll tell me like numbers and dimensions, my sizes of my tumors. They'll talk about my conditions, but they use medical terms and shit. I'm not a doctor, so I don't understand a lot of it. But I try to read it. The only reason why I understand a little bit of it is because I do have a friend that's a nurse. And I'll send her screenshots of the My Chart after, my results and everything. And she tries to tell me, explain it to me in terms that I understand what's going on. But apparently all I have to do is have these 2 surgeries that I'm getting on February the 18th. She said she's just going to do it all at one time. She's going to give me a full hysterectomy, and then she's going to remove the tumors that's around the lining of my stomach. Apparently, she says once I get all that done, no more problems. Everything will be solved. Because I'm a healthy person other than that. So, but I can only go by what my doctor says. And we all know, and if Bill is still in here, he could probably tell you too. I don't know if they do it so they don't scare you into not coming back or just scare you at all. But doctors don't always tell you every single detail. They don't always tell you the truth. That's why sometimes I'll take screenshots of the my chart and I'll send it to my friend that's a nurse. And she'll read it and she'll try to explain everything to me. The only doctor that I will say that I know for sure that has been truthful to me, and I don't know if Bill would tell you all this or not. Yeah, I don't know if it's because of policy, Bill, or if they're afraid they'll get in trouble, or they're afraid that they'll scare the patient. I don't know why. But the only doctor that I know that was truthful to me, and I don't know if Bill will know this or not, when I first found out I had this condition, I was normal. I'm talking to y'all like I'm talking to you now. I had just finished my 12-hour shift at work. I go home to let my dog out. I eat dinner. I start getting these stabbing pains in my stomach. I was like, okay, I ate too much. I overindulged. We've done it before. We've all ate too much and had a bad stomach ache. And I still say to this day that peanuts saved my life. So I decided to lay on my stomach. Some of us have done that too. You get a bad stomach ache, you lay on your stomach, and you're like, okay, I ate too much. I need to lay down. Pain kept getting worse and worse in my stomach. All of a sudden, now they say that dogs can sense things. I don't know. I guess they can because of the way she acted that night. Since I'm laying on my stomach, she jumps up on my back, like up on my shoulder right here. Starts licking me on my face. Since I'm hurting, I'm like, go on now. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm like, Mama, don't feel good. Get off of me right now. So I kind of nudged her off back onto the floor a little bit. She jumps back up on my back again, starts licking me again and whining. That time, she kind of gets on my nerves. I'm like, go on now. And that's the way I talked to her. I said, I told you, leave me alone. I don't feel good. A third time, she wouldn't get off of me. She kind of like fought me. Like when I tried to get her off of me, she dug her nails like into my shoulder and just still kept licking my face. And my stomach was hurting worse and worse and worse. And I was like, something's wrong. I'm like, my dog don't act like this. I was like, and I told my roommate, I said, can you watch my dog? I'm going to go to the emergency room real quick. She said, yeah, go ahead. No problem. She's like, I got your dog. So I drive to the closest hospital. I Google the closest hospital to me. Now, I'm not going to explain every detail. I'm just saying maybe Bill can tell you all how bad off I was, because this was the only doctor I felt like was truthful with me. I get to the hospital. I wait for my turn. I tell them what kind of pain I'm feeling in my stomach. They're like, any other symptoms? Anything else going on? I was like, no, I feel great. I said, I just got done working 12 hours at my job. I said, I just went home and I ate dinner and then I started having these stabbing pains in my stomach. So, of course, they do like hospitals do. They take blood to check my blood, you know, my vitals, all that crap. My vitals come back normal, like with the blood pressure cup and stuff. Then all of a sudden, he comes back in and 2 other people come in. And still, I guess they thought that I was stupid. Maybe I am because, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. He came back in and 2 other people came back in. We need to get you to a hospital right now. You need a blood transfusion immediately. I was like, what? I was like, back in and 2 other people came back in. We need to get you to a hospital right now. You need a blood transfusion immediately. I was like, what? I was like, hold up. going to come into the room and say, you need to take me upstairs for a blood transfusion. He was like, ma'am, he said, you need a blood transfusion right now. We are not equipped to do it at this hospital. We need to get you into an ambulance and get you to another hospital. I was like, I said, and then they tried to explain to me. I said, you need to be more clear with me. What are you talking about? What's going on? Why do I need a blood transfusion? And that's when the doctor looked at me and he said, ma'am, I do not see how you drove yourself to the hospital, how you're talking to me right now. He said, your hemoglobin is a 2.5. Again, I'm not a doctor. I was like, okay, 2.5. Okay. What does that mean? It was a 2.5, Bill. He said, what I mean is, he said, you should not be here acting normal right now, talking to me and driving yourself here to the hospital. You need to get up to another hospital that's better equipped to help you. I was like, no. Now, Bill, I know that once I'm talking like this and I'm coherent, a hospital cannot make you stay. So I asked their permission. I said, look, I have a dog at home. I said, can I go home, get some clothes, because I didn't know how long I'd be in the hospital. I said, can I make sure my roommate can take care of my dog while I'm in the hospital? I said, I'm asking you all, can I leave to go do that? Then he got loud with me again. I mean, louder than I'm talking. I have a loud voice, but he was almost screaming at me. He said, no, man, you cannot leave and you cannot go home. You need to get a blood transfusion right now. And I kind of looked at him and I said, clearly, everyone is different. I said, I just worked a 12-hour shift. I drove myself to the hospital when you said I should never even have done that. Then he said he doesn't know how I made it. I don't know. But I said, then you say that I shouldn't even be sitting here talking to you normal with my hemoglobin being a 2.5. He said, no, ma'am, you shouldn't. We need to figure out what's going on. I said, so I'm telling you now, let me go home, make sure my dog is fine because she's like my baby. I said, tell me what hospital you want me to go to and I will go. I don't know if they were afraid if I was going to die if I left or if I wouldn't come back or both. And he gave me this big pamphlet. He said, please go to this hospital, because he knew he couldn't make me stay, because I told him, I said, if you don't let me do this, I said, I'm going to walk out anyway. I said, then you might piss me off so bad I won't come back or go to the other hospital they wanted me to go to. He gave me a big old yellow pamphlet, like, you know, big old yellow envelope. He said, they've already been called. They're going to be waiting on you. He said, please go to that hospital as soon as you make sure your dog was okay. And I did. I drove to the other hospital after I made sure my dog was going to be fine. They already had my room for me. They were waiting. But, yeah, apparently a 2.5, I should have been on the verge of death by the way they were talking. So if that's true, I would have to say that is the only doctor I can say that was probably truthful to me in the whole time that I've been going through this. They had to give me 6 bags. I had to get 6 bags of blood. First, they tried 4. They gave me 4 bags, and that brought my, if I'm saying it right, that brought my hemoglobin up to like an 8 point something after 4 bags. They said for a woman, 8 something or whatever still is at the danger level, because they said 6 is when it gets life-threatening. So since 4 bags only put me up to like an 8 something, but the reason why it only put me up to an 8 something is because they still couldn't get my bleeding to stop. I was still bleeding. Like, for some of you all that want to know where was the blood coming from, I'll just call it, it's like a period. That's where I was bleeding from, but it wasn't actually a period. So that's why my hemoglobin wasn't going up after 4 bags of blood. Finally, they got my bleeding to stop, and they gave me 2 more bags of blood, and that brought my hemoglobin up to like a 10. I was walking around the hospital. I was a little dizzy and everything. They watched me and monitored me for another day. After they gave me my 6th bag, I still felt weak. I felt dizzy, but I was still walking. I was fine. I was normal. And they let me go home. They just told me to take my iron pills that they gave me when I was supposed to take them. And they told me to make sure that I ate a lot of foods that was high in iron. And to get to my doctor as soon as I could. Make an appointment with my doctor. So, yeah. That's the worst that it's ever been. My hemoglobin was a 2.5. Even with taking iron pills and stuff, it's gotten back down again to like a 7. But I was able to get it to go back up. Yeah, I know, Bill. That's why I said I'm learning as I'm going through this. But I still don't understand every single thing. I can only go by what my doctor says. Oh, Chill, I'm just getting a full hysterectomy. Hysterectomies have been done for decades. Doctors just say that it's unusual for my fibroid tumors to get as big as they have gotten. They've seen it before, but not too often. And another reason why they could not get me to stop bleeding, Chill, and they found out, Bill may know what these are, I don't know. They also found out that I had polyps on my cervix. They said polyps also cause hemorrhaging. So I had to have 3 polyps removed off of my cervix. So that's why they could not get my bleeding to stop. The fibroids was causing me to bleed. The polyps were causing me to bleed. And then the other tumors that's attached to the inner walls of my stomach, they were kind of leaking, bleeding, whatever you want to call it. So that's why they couldn't get it to stop, because I had like 3 things that was causing me to bleed at one time. No, that's what my doctor thought, Bill. That's why they're going to go ahead and they told me to do a hysterectomy. I had one doctor, she was for sure. That's where my bleeding was coming from when she found the 3 polyps. She said it probably wouldn't stop me completely, but she thought that's what the major problem was. That if she removed them, it would drastically reduce it. Bill, since you say you're a nurse, you don't have a weak stomach, I'm going to show you something here. The rest of you all can turn your head if you got a weak stomach. So she removed the 3 polyps. I give it a couple of months, I was healed up and everything. No, still bleeding just as bad as ever. A year after she removed them, I was still bleeding that bad and they couldn't get it to stop. Now, my female friend that's a nurse, she asked me one day, now she's in pediatrics. She knows a little bit about women's stuff, but not a lot because she's in pediatrics. I started bleeding really bad again, like bad. And she was like, do you mind? And I wasn't sure if I needed to go to the doctor or not, like to the ER. She said, can you show me a picture of you going to the bathroom? I said, I ain't showing you my cooter coot. She said, no. She started laughing. She said, when you get up from the toilet, she said, take a picture and let me see. I said, are you sure you want to see it? She said, girl, I'm a nurse. I've seen it all. I was like, okay. So I took a picture of the toilet, sent it to her immediately. Get your ass to the fucking hospital right now. I ain't never seen nothing that bad. Like, this is how I go all the time. At first, she said, is that just going to the bathroom one time? She said, or are you not flushing? I said, yes, I flush every time I go to the bathroom. I don't know when I'm going to get company at my house. So all of you all turn your head. I need to quit talking so loud. I don't want to bother my neighbors. All of you all turn your head if you're squeamish. I'm only going to show this for a couple of seconds. This is how bad I bleed. And this is why they have said there's nothing else that can be done. I have got to get the hysterectomy. Okay. Turn y'all's heads. If you're squeamish, I'm not joking. That's just one time. Just going to the bathroom one time. So, even my doctors have said, and I was bleeding like that every day for almost 2 years. That's why I had to keep getting transfusions. After transfusion, they could not get me to stop bleeding. First, they put me on the depot shot. They tried to get my bleeding to stop by giving me the depot shot. That was the first treatment. It didn't work. So then they tried to give me the depot shot and the depot pill. So I was on both of those. Did not work. Then they tried to give me some other kind of hormone pills and stuff, like the birth control pills and stuff like that. Did not work. I still kept bleeding. Then they tried to put whatever you call it, because I haven't had kids in years. So all this stuff came out after I quit having kids. The IUD, UID, whatever the hell that is, the clamp thing, they tried to give me that. That did not work. So yeah, and then the only thing that got me to stop bleeding was that Lupron depot shot. A lot of people say that, Bill. A lot of people say there's no way in hell they would go to work. And I'm in the bathroom like every 20 minutes. It's like, okay, and I wear, if you've ever seen them at the hospital, I wear the biggest pad you can get. It looks almost like a diaper. It just don't have the sides. Say I need a change. I could be at work. I go into the bathroom. I change because I'm about to leak out of the one that I've already got on. I go change. By the time I hit that door to leave the bathroom, sometimes, not all the time, I get a huge big clot that just drops right out. I can feel it. And then I feel it start running on my pants and stuff. I always have 3 extra pairs of pants that I keep at my job for whenever I mess up. I'm changing again. But like I said, I haven't done that for 6 months now because I've been on the Lupron depot shot. But yes, I was going to work every day, still dealing with that. I've had so many women and people tell me there ain't no damn way I would go to work bleeding like that. They're like, you're out of your mind. No, I'm not out of my mind. I got bills to pay. Ain't nobody going to pay my, but ain't nobody going to pay my fucking bills but me. And like I said, I feel like I'm a strong-ass woman and I can handle it. I'm not trying to act like I'm better than anybody else. But again, I've got bills to pay. I can't be homeless living on the street. I can't just stop working because other people are saying, there's no way I would go to work like that. Well, you know, I do what I got to do. Hey, Chrissy. It's okay, Bill. I hope you have a good night. But y'all, Bill said he used to be a nurse. He could probably tell you all that my doctor's right. She says that once I have this full hysterectomy and get the tumors removed, that I should have no more problems. So, yeah, I can't wait for this surgery. But do I want to go to work with all this crap going on? No, I don't. But the one good thing about my job is me having to run to the bathroom. Like, because the shot that I was taking is already worn off. I started bleeding again. That's why they put me back on the pills. Because it's too dangerous. I can't take the shots anymore. I reached my 6-month limit. Do I want to go to work like this? No. But like I said, nobody's going to pay my bills but me. I got bills to pay. But the one good thing about my job, I work the night shift, and in my area, I'm the only one that works there. No one else works in my area. So there's not any bosses or anyone there to really say anything about me going to the bathroom every 15, 20 minutes. So I can pretty much do whatever I want to do as long as I get my job done. At my other job that I had before I got my new job that I'm at now, even though they're not supposed to, they were watching me every time I went to the bathroom. Not like actually going in, not watching me, but when I would walk to the bathroom, they'd watch. They started wondering why I was going to the bathroom so much. None of their business. I ain't got to tell them nothing about my medical history unless my doctor would say that I can't work. My doctor said, of course, if I felt like I could, I can work. She said it would be hard, but I could work. So it wasn't none of their damn business what was going on with me. Until finally my supervisor, I finally told her a little bit. I didn't tell her every little detail, and I even brought her a note in from my doctor that yes, I had women's problems and I needed to be able to go to the bathroom to take care of myself whenever I needed to. For some reason, I guess they didn't think it was that bad because, of course, they're not going through it. So they thought maybe I was lying a little bit about every time I went to the bathroom. So, yeah, I didn't like that job. They acted like they were treating me like shit, but that's okay because I found a job that I love. One of the best jobs I've ever had in my life. Yeah, but Chrissy, my doctor says I'm too far away from menopause. Because I did my research. And I was thinking, well, what if I wait until menopause? That's not going to work because the Lupron Depot shot that I was on, it completely stopped my bleeding. It put me into, and the shot lasts for like 3 months, even after your last shot. Like it takes like 3 months to wear it out of your body. So for 9 months, I did not bleed at all. I was put into a medically induced menopause. She did another ultrasound of my stomach after those 9 months of no bleeding. Mine did not shrink at all. Not even a little bit. Because mine are the size of babies' heads, or that's what she told me. So, and I can't wait that long because it took about 3 months after I got my last shot. It didn't gradually come on. I went to go pee one day at work. I saw a little pink. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm getting ready to start bleeding again. Didn't really think of it because I thought, okay, it would just gradually happen. No, within about 20 minutes, the whole front of my pants was completely covered. It looked like someone was about to butcher me. I had to leave work that night because I wasn't prepared. I didn't know that was going to happen. So I had to run out and leave work. And yeah, it came back on that fast again. I had another ultrasound done, and that's when my doctor was like, they didn't even shrink a little. Not even the slightest little bit. She said, there's nothing else we can do but give you surgery. I was like, okay. I'm in materials. I drive really big forklifts. Because I can't afford that, Chrissy. I don't know if you could or not, but I can't afford to keep getting all these blood transfusions, and I can't keep affording to take off work like I've had to take off work. So yeah, I'm choosing the hysterectomy because I'm 50 years old. I'm done having kids. I'm not going to let this keep getting in the way of me making money and me doing my job anymore. So I'm choosing to do the hysterectomy. That's why I'm in the financial position that I'm in now. I make decent money at my job. But every time I have to take off work, whether it's because of weather or my medical condition, I'm losing money. So, yeah, I'm choosing to do the hysterectomy so I don't have to lose work anymore. I've been a hard worker all my life. And no, I'm not saying that there's not other hard workers out there. There's all kinds of hard workers out in the world. But that's just me. That's how I am. It pisses me off every time I have to just lose one day of work. So yeah, I'm choosing to do the hysterectomy. Yeah, I did too. My hemoglobin, the lowest it's ever been, has been a 2.5. That's the lowest that it's ever been. It still fluctuates up and down, up and down. I take my iron pills like I'm supposed to and everything. But the lowest it's ever been has been a 2.5. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see your name too well. If it's Sheila Dean, I don't think so. My doctor does a cancer test on me once a year. The first two was negative, and since my surgery is in February, last week she just did 2 more biopsies because they have to make sure that I don't have no cancer before they do the hysterectomy. And I'm pretty sure that's going to come back negative too. But I'm waiting on the results for that. She had to take a biopsy of my cervix, and she had to take a biopsy of my uterus. That's just, they do that with every woman before a hysterectomy, just to make sure there's no cancer. They have to. Even if your condition don't cause cancer. Or that's what this doctor told me. They have to do a biopsy of your cervix and your uterus just to make sure that there's no cancer before they do surgery. Oh, I know I'll feel better because when I was able to take those Lupron Depot shots for 6 months, I felt like I was 20 years old again. I felt great. Better than I have in years. So yeah, I get some people sometimes that ask me, am I nervous? Because she has told me with how large some of my tumors are, that if the slightest mistake is made, I could bleed out and not make it. She said there is a chance of death. I'm not afraid at all. I've had friends of mine say, are you scared at all? No. I felt like I was a kid again when I was on those 6 months of injections. I cannot wait to get my surgery. Yeah, Chrissy, did they ever give you a biopsy of your cervix and your uterus too, like they did me? And the only reason why I ask you is I have some followers, like last week when I went and I got my 2 biopsies, they couldn't believe that the doctor don't numb you. I was like, hell no, that shit hurts. I said, they don't numb you. They tell you to lay down on the bed. You spread your legs. They go in and they suction chunks of your uterus and your cervix out. No numbing medicine, no nothing. And then whenever you ask them why, they're like, well, because it only takes like 5 or 10 minutes. No sense in trying to numb you and wait. I'm like, shit. So yeah, I don't wish this on nobody. And that's why I get on here and talk about this, for women to know the signs and to always get checked. Ever since this happened to me, I tell every woman, I don't give a shit if you're in here watching me just to troll, if you like me or not. I'll tell every woman, do not wait. I don't care if you say you're broke, you don't have a lot of money. Get your yearly checkups done. Do not miss them. No, this has nothing to do with the pap smear. This stuff can't be detected with the pap smear. This was detected because of how bad I started bleeding when I was having periods. That's how they detected this. But still, I tell every woman in here sometimes that'll want to come in here and troll me, I don't give a shit if you like me or not. I'm just doing this for every woman out there because I know how bad this shit is. I tell every woman, no matter what, do not miss your yearly checkups. Get checked. Kind of, Rosemary, kind of. If you've ever had a pap smear, it starts off like that. You know, you spread them. They take the speculum, open you up. Then they take like the metal things, almost like you cook with, like tongs or whatever. They grab a hold of your cervix because they have to clamp down on it. Or if you've ever had a tongue pierced or anything, the clamps that they keep to clamp it, to hold it in place so it'll stay in place. They got that inside of you. And then they stick up this long plastic tube that is sharp on the outside so, you know, it can puncture you a little bit. And it's almost, hang on. I can show you real quick. Hang on, where's it at? Where is it at? Okay, well. Now, this is a little one that I use for my dog for her medicine. But after they got you clamped down with that thing and they're holding it so your cervix don't get away, they stick in this big old long ass tube that's kind of sharp on the end. They go in and they like puncture your uterus like that, or cervix, whatever they're biopsying. And it's like a suction, it's a vacuum. Then they pull it out like that, and they keep pulling, and all of your skin from your cervix or your uterus, whatever it is getting sucked up into this thing, and they keep going until it's full. And then that's what they test for cancer. So yeah, it's not fun. And then, of course, your stomach and everything down there hurts really bad for several days after. When I was in there last week, they did 2 biopsies. And what I mean by 2 biopsies is they took 2 samples of my cervix and 2 samples of my uterus. They say they usually take 2 samples. So, yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, you need one, Melinda. You can develop, well, you probably wouldn't develop fibroids because you're past menopause. So you probably wouldn't never develop fibroids. But you can develop uterine, if you still have all of your stuff. You can develop uterine or cervical cancer at any age. So what does your doctor mean you don't need to be checked on regular checkups? If I were you, I would say try to find you another doctor. They can't stop you. That is our legal right. You can go to as many doctors as you want to until you find the right one for you. Yeah, you can develop cancer at any age, so I don't know why your doctor would be telling you you don't need checkups. At least even your yearly checkup. Now, I do know they have a new thing. I don't know if it's just the hospital here or every hospital, but they're saying now that there's new technology out that you don't have to get a pap smear every year anymore. Now it's every 3 years. I'm looking at all the ice that's fallen outside my window. Oh! And y'all, this ain't snow. This is ice. Look, 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 look. We're supposed to get the snow after we get the ice. This is all ice, and I have to go to work here in about 20 minutes. Let me flip the camera. Let me open my window. Right there. That's all ice. So yeah, Rosemary, since I have to go to work here in about 20 to 30 minutes, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I keep looking out my window. We've got the ice, and I keep looking to see if it started snowing yet because we're supposed to get 5 inches of snow on top of that. I think it might even actually be snowing. I don't know. I can't tell. because of how the light, like the building lights, are flashing off of my iPad. I can't tell if it's snowing yet, but I know that it's not icing anymore because it's not hitting my window. But yeah, that's all ice right there. Let me see. I'm going to open my window. Ooh, and you can see it on the truck too, on this guy's truck out here. It's covered on his truck. Let me open my window. Ooh, I'm too short. I can't reach the locks. Very good. Ooh, that's cold. Oh, Peanut wants to look? Peanut wants to come out here and look. Here, I'll get you up there. You want to get in the window? Come on. Hang on, y'all. Let me get my dog. Ooh, oh, there you go. Peanut wants to look out the window. But yeah, that's all ice. You can see it on the guy's truck. Yeah, I'm going to go to work, Marie. Like I keep on saying in my live, I got bills to pay. Ain't nobody going to pay my bills, or I'm going to try. I'm going to try to make it to work. Yeah, it don't look like it's snowing yet. But they say after the ice, we're supposed to get snow on top of that. But yeah, I'm going to try to go to work. I'm going to try to make it. Of course, if I end up in a ditch or something, or I slide off the road, then I'm going to have to turn around and go back home. But I'm going to try to go to work. I live about an hour away from my job. Okay, come on, Peanut. That's cold. Come on, get down here. It's freezing. I got to shut the window. Close my window back so nobody looks in my window. See, that's why I told you all I'm saving up my money to buy me an SUV, all-wheel drive. Because all I got out there is a little front-wheel drive car. That's why I said I'm going to try to go to work. We'll see. I live in South Dakota. Peanut's back on her electric blanket after that. Yeah, Chrissy, when I first had this problem happen to me, like I said, that day I walked into the ER and my hemoglobin was at a 2.5. That's all my lives mostly used to be about. Because there were so many women out there that had never been through this or heard about this. And I've told them all what signs to watch out for. To never, I don't care how busy they are, how lazy they are. Don't ever put off your checkups. I've even told women in here that watch me just because they can't stand me and they hope that I fail or they hope that something bad happens to me. I don't care. But I still tell them, I don't care how they feel about me, but please, please do not miss your checkups as a woman. Yeah, I've got trolls that are hoping that I don't get my surgery. They've pretty much admitted it. Sarah, Peanut's fine. I think she just fell off of her tower when I was at work. Like when she jumped down, I think she hurt herself. That's why I took it apart. I took it apart and I threw it in the garbage because she's too little. She don't need to keep jumping off of that thing. So I took it apart and threw it in the garbage. But I think that may be why her face was swelled up a little bit. I think when she jumped down, she probably landed on her face. Because when I would touch her little arms or her legs or something, she would whine a little bit. So yeah, I think she hurt herself when she jumped down off of her window tower. And she's getting older. So I took it apart and threw it in the garbage. But yeah, I'll turn the camera around to her. You can see her. She's fine, but I just got done having my window open showing everybody the ice that we got. And she was up in the window, Sarah. You know she loves the window. But she's cold, so she went over and jumped on her electric blanket. But yeah, she's fine. Say her fine. Yeah, and my girl. That mama girl. And I'm sitting here looking out the window, Sarah, because I have to go to work here in a little bit. I don't really have to go to work, you all. I don't have to be at my regular job until 4 in the afternoon. But I always do DoorDash in the mornings to make as much money as I can to save for my surgery. And what I mean by saving for my surgery is, yes, I will get short-term disability checks from my job, but I won't get my first check for 3 to 4 weeks. I got bills to pay before I get my first check. So I DoorDash every morning before I go to my regular job so I can get as much money together saved up as I can to pay for my bills while I'm out of work after my surgery. So no, I don't have to, but I'm going to go DoorDash this morning. That way I can also test the roads, see how they are, see how bad they get before I go to my regular job. Because if they are too bad, I did drive to work once in a blizzard, but that was only because the blizzard did not start until I was already halfway to work. I was like, well, I'm not turning around now. Hell, I'm halfway to work. I'm going. I will not drive in nothing like that again. So while I'm out DoorDashing this morning, I'll be able to see how bad it gets, if it gets worse than this, how the roads are, because I drive an hour to my regular job. If they're really, really bad, then that's when I'll call my boss and be like, look, I can't make it to work. But I'm going to do everything I can to make it to work, because some of you all that have jobs in here, if I don't go to work today, then I won't get paid for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Most jobs, the policy is, at a regular job, if you want your holiday pay, you have to work the day before the holiday that you're off, and you got to work the very next day after the holiday. So if I don't go to work at my regular job today, then I lose that holiday pay. That'll be 2 days of pay that I will lose. I can't afford that. So, yeah, if I can make it, I'm going to my regular job today. But yeah, Sarah, you can see Peanut. She's fine. She's just cold right now because, like I said, she was just up in the window looking at all the ice outside. Oh, it's not really, it wasn't bought really for Peanut. I just got it at Walmart. They sell them every year. They got electric throws. But when I bought it for me, she ended up loving it. She always curled up in it. So I just gave it to her. And they're not expensive. You can find them at any Walmart around wintertime. I think I might walk out front, y'all. I think I might walk out front and see how deep the ice is, like how much we got. Let's go see. Where are my shoes? Where's my shoes? Where's my shoes? I gotta find my slip-ons first. Where's my slip-on shoes? Where's my slip-on shoes? I don't know what I did with my slip-on shoes. Huh. Oh, they're in the kitchen. From where I took Peanut outside. I'm going to go out front and look. Okay. I need to be a little bit quiet because I'm out here in the hallway. Oh, it's snowing now. Now it's snowing. Y'all see it? But yeah, that's all ice right there. Woo, I'm going back in. It's cold. And you can see, Sarah, if you're still in here, Peanut's got blankets everywhere. I make sure she's warm in the wintertime. She got her little doggy mat right there. More blankets and stuff there. She got her little blanket there. She got her little electric blanket there. You can see she's all curled up. And I got it plugged up. There's a little plug. So yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. My apartment ain't really dirty. It's just messy because she's got little dog pads and blankets everywhere. I got to make sure my baby stays warm in the wintertime. What time is it? 3:53. Nothing. With all of my medical stuff and everything else that's going on, I can't afford too much. I went to a pet store and I got her a little pink toy, a little pink stuffed animal, a pig. And I got her one of them little dog cookies that they decorate, like Christmas cookies. So yeah, she got like a little Christmas dog cookie and she got a little pink pig. And of course, I got a can of whipped cream so she could have her pup cup. And then for her Christmas dinner, I got her just a plain rotisserie chicken. And I peeled all the skin off on it, even though it says plain, just in case they do put some kind of spices on it. I peeled all of the skin and everything off and just let her have the chicken. Yeah, I do that all the time, Rosemary. I don't know about your area, but Starbucks and all the other places around here want to charge us a lot of money for a pup cup. I'm like, hell, I can go to the store and buy my own tub of whipped cream. Give her a pup cup at home. I can go to the Dollar Tree and get a can of that Ready Whip or whatever for like $3. Or I could go to the local grocery store here and get a whole tub of whipped cream for like 98 cents. But the Starbucks here, they want to be charging like $4 or $5 just for a little tiny cup of whipped cream. Hey, y'all good? She's doing good. She's feeling okay. We were just looking out the window at all of the ice that we got. And then now it's going to snow on top of that. I keep looking out the window so I can keep watching the roads for going to work. And she got cold, so she jumped down over there and got up underneath her electric blanket. My dog does, Rosemary. Watch this. Cookie? You want a cookie? I'm sorry, Mama don't have no cookie. Mama don't have no cookies. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby. I should not have done that. I'm sorry, Mama don't have no cookies right now. Or she knows all the sweets, but I give her vanilla ice cream. I got some ice cream too. Or how about wait, listen. Calm down. Listen. Sit down and listen. You going to go back over to your bed? How about cake? I got some cake. I'm sorry. Okay, I need to quit. I need to stop. That's mean. I'm sorry. I do have a doggy treat, though. I can give you a doggy treat. You want one of your doggy treats? I don't have no sweets. I don't have no cookies. I don't have no pup cups. Yeah, I don't have none of that. But I do have a doggy treat. You want a doggy treat? Let's go get one of your treats. Come on. Let's go get one of your doggy treats. Because I teased you. It's my fault. Hang on. We'll see if she'll take one of these. I give her these bacon milk bone brushing shoes. She loves these. Okay. Let me put the camera down for a second, y'all. Hang on. Shoes. She loves these. Okay. Let me put the camera down for a second, y'all. Hang on. Okay. You want your brush and chew? There you go. She probably would have rather have had a pup cup or a cookie. No, I don't have no cookies. That's all I got for you. Eat your treat. She takes it back in my bedroom and she hides it. No, she not. You saw her come back. She wants that damn cookie. I might grab a couple little, I might grab a box of the sugar-free or the light vanilla wafers while I'm out working today, and I might bring some home to her. My store sells like light vanilla wafers, and they also sell sugar-free vanilla wafers. See, she knows what they are. Vanilla wafers? Yeah. Mama will get you some vanilla wafers today, okay, while I'm out. Sugar-free, though. You getting sugar-free. I can either get her that, or there's all kinds of sugar-free cookies that they make for like diabetic people and stuff. So yeah, sometimes when people's like, can she have sugar-free? Yeah, you can get dogs like sugar-free stuff, like cookies and stuff that diabetics eat. But you also have to check and make sure it doesn't have any of those imitation sugars. Like stuff that they make like Sweet and Low and all that stuff with. It can't have no imitation sugars in it either because that's toxic for dogs. However you say that crap, the Zexol or Exol or something like that. It starts with the X, like a XY, OL, something. I don't know. Or sometimes if I can't find any that doesn't have any of the imitation sugars in it, I'll just get her another tub of whipped cream, make her a little pup cup. I like how she lays like that with her little hind legs spread out. Yeah. Zoom in on her. She got her little hind legs all spread out. I get the 0 sugar whipped cream, Rosemary. I don't get her regular whipped cream. I get her the sugar free. Are you cold again? You getting on your electric blanket? No, I'm not a diabetic, but my mom was before she died. So I know how to read the ingredients and stuff for like fake sugars, imitation sugars, regular sugar. Okay, y'all, it's after 4 o'clock. I got to get off of here and get out of my pajamas and get dressed. I'm going to go out here and check these roads and try to do some door dashing a little bit before I go to my regular job. See how the roads are. But thank y'all for hanging out in here with me. I'm going to get off of here and go out here and try to make me some money. Y'all have a good day. Job. See how the roads are. But thank y'all for hanging out in here with me. I'm going to get off of here and go out here and try to make me some money. Y'all have a good day. Hanging out in here with me. I'm going to